Hi, my name's Fiona Small, and welcome to my first audiobook, 40 and Fabulous. I'd like to say a special thank you to all those who had listening to this chapter. I've decided to launch this book because I'm celebrating my 40th birthday, and as a special treat to myself, I decided to do something that I've always wanted to do. And I thought, what's the best way to put out a book without a whole book? And then I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll just do a chapter, see how it's received, and if the take up is good, then I'll do a whole book. So, welcome to my first chapter. So let me just tell you a bit about myself. I'm a mother of two. I am the founder of Young Mum Support Network, which is a registered community interest company. It has been going for the past 8 years, and I am very proud of the organisation and what it's achieved. I'm going to start with a few highlights. So, to date, I've visited number 10 Downing Street. I've won about 5 awards. I have been invited to Atlanta as a guest speaker in 2018 for an event, hosted a roundtable at NatWest for International Women's Day 2019, which was fabulous, and also just received a digital badge from NatWest for being a social entrepreneur. I could go on, but I just wanted to kind of just start with some recognition, not only for myself, but also some of the highs of what kind of starting a community interest company has done for me. And it's opened up so many amazing doors. For me, I look at it and think, wow, when and how and who and what. But it's been an interesting journey. But most people, being in an entrepreneur space, what they often do is they kind of will just focus on all of the highs and all of the great stuff. But what I wanted to share in this chapter was a little bit about what most people don't see, and to give background around the stuff that I've been battling with and dealing with over the past 2 years. So the responsibility I have running an organisation that supports mums, many would probably just assume that as a mum who has provided a support network for mums would have it all together. Now, I have 2 children, and 2 years ago, my youngest child, he's 7 now, he was going through quite a challenging time at school, and I was constantly being called by the school about his behaviour. At this point, I didn't know what was going on with him and why he just decided to act up. Looking back at some of the changes that was happening for him around that time, he had moved from reception to year 1, then to year 2, had a different teacher. His music teacher had changed, his head teacher had changed. There was a few changes that had happened in his life, which I think probably he didn't adjust that well to. However, as a result, the behaviour really deteriorated at school to the extent where my son actually got excluded for a period of time. Now, for a mother who is running a social enterprise, who is supporting other mothers and providing parenting programs around, how to support children and empowering mothers, my own corner as a mother was being challenged, and I literally felt like such a failure because I felt like a hypocrite. I was thinking to myself, how can I be running an organization that provides support for mothers, and I've got so many issues going on in my own life? And because I'm the face of an organization, it's not something that I was able to overly share with people because, one, I didn't want people to judge me. Two, I was still trying to battle and deal with it in my own unique way. Three, if I'm to be totally honest, I was quite embarrassed because I didn't know what to do. And being a person who runs an organization, is in a position of leadership, is the figurehead of an organization, when you don't have the kind of answer of what's going on and you're the one that everybody looks to because you have the solutions, I didn't have any. So my back was against the wall. The pressure was really, really high. And for me, I didn't know what to do. I'm going to let you know about the relationship with the school and I, which for people who are going through stuff in the lives of their children, and especially for mums and dads who don't know what's going on, I would really, encourage that the relationship with the school is a positive one. And I can honestly say that, in the early stages, I was quite, not sure what's to do, but I maintained a really good relationship with them and worked with them because we needed to work out what was going on, and they really supported me. So fast forward, I was advised to actually get him assessed just to look at if there was any additional special needs that may have been overlooked and what was going on with him. And because of the age that he was at, it was the time to do so. Would you believe, to my shock and horror, I would say, my son has been diagnosed with ADHD, and that is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Now, many people who know me and know my son will know that he is a drummer. He's a self-taught drummer, is very gifted in drumming, and finding out and discovering that actually this child has special needs and is now, we're dealing with a disorder, really challenged a lot for me. And it took a while to process because it's not something that I was able to kind of articulate. I knew there was stuff going on with him because I could see that he couldn't keep still, and even the behavior at school, he was getting up, he was walking out of the classrooms. And as a result of this discovery, it was like part of me was relieved. It was like, oh, now I know what was going on. Now this all makes sense. Now he's not just a bad child, he has a special need. So having that said, I was able to get help and get support, bearing in mind that I'm running an organisation supporting mums with mothers with children with additional needs, from autism to ADHD to ADD. I've learnt so much from the mothers within my organisation's network around the needs of their children, and didn't ever think that I would actually, have been presented with it myself within my own child. So running a business that provides support for mothers, especially when you need support yourself. I often have told people the reason I actually started Young Mum Support Network was because, in fact, it was something that I was seeking myself. And now looking into the position that I'm in now, I'm having to relearn and retrain myself in how I parent, respond to the needs of my son. So my son needs to do a lot of activity. He needs to move. And even him being a drummer, ADHD, when you do your research, is very common in drummers because it's something to do with the sensory and the tapping and the beating. So I'm getting to realise, and even just looking back from a child as when he was like a toddler stage, there were certain little things that I'm now thinking, oh, I wonder if that had something to do with his ADHD. So being open to just learning about, something, you can be presented with stuff that is out of your control. And when life presents the unexpected, because I didn't see this coming, there was times when I'd be sitting in meetings, I've got my team around me, we're planning activities, then the school would call me and say, you need to come and get your son because this has happened. And there was so many different things going on. And I thought, you know what, I need to stop what I'm doing. I can't be running a support network, and I can't even have control over my own child. Who am I to dictate and to, give information to others, and my own corner is not tidy? So I just wanted to share this with everybody, really. I've reached a point now where I'm comfortable with it. I've accepted it. And if you heard the intro with regards to this audiobook, 40 and Fabulous, I mention about acceptance. And it's something that I question self. I'm going to be totally honest and transparent here. I felt like a failure when I first heard that actually your child has a special need, because I didn't realise that was what was going on with him. I felt that it was me that wasn't doing something right why he was responding. And I was thinking, I wonder if he's not in the right school, or this is what's happening. Now discovering that he actually needs support, and it's just how his brain is wired, how he responds to things, the needs that he has in terms of needing to move and stimulation. I've learned so much along this journey, and I've got some amazing people who are knowledgeable in this area, who have supported me. There's a thing called an EHCP plan, which stands for an educational healthcare plan, which you get from the local authority. Basically, the school will get an additional resources, financial resource, to support my child with what he needs. I'm actually engaging him with more physical activity. So he's doing swimming now. Swimming is really good for children with ADHD because of the sensory and also the kind of soothing element to it as well in the water. He's also doing dance. Dance is something that he can do and he can move. He has a drum teacher that comes to our home and teaches him drumming because he's got a drum kit at home. And I'm doing more activity now. Being a mum that is running a business, who has 2 children, and one who, the younger child, who's quite gifted and very vocal and very loud, I've had to try and work out how to balance myself in my home, because I can't do everything as one person. There's times when I feel like I can't manage this, and it feels like it's all tearing down. Looking into everything now and just doing some self analyzation and just assessing where I'm at as a woman, as a mother, as somebody who is about to enter a whole new chapter in life. I feel it's important to just be totally open and totally transparent with what's going on personally. Sometimes we live this bubble, or we live this dream, or we sell a dream, I should say. And if you follow social media, a lot of people will, kind of present this best life facade. And that's exactly what it is, because deep down we've all got stuff going on. Deep down we're all battling with stuff. And I've weathered many storms during my lifetime. And when I say lifetime, I'm about to turn 40. Well, I'll be 40 by the time this is launched. But there's a lot of things that have gone on, and I could have thought, let me do this audiobook being something about, how to be a successful businesswoman and run a social enterprise, or how to, we just launched a crowdfund campaign and it was a success and we raised 20k. I could go there and really make it quite guru-y and pitchy and sell you this best life dream. But what I want to get across from this chapter is we're all human beings. We've all got stuff going on. Sometimes things are visible, sometimes they're not. And it's about just being honest and open with where you're at and what you've got going on, and knowing that you can go out and get support and get the help that is required. Now, for me, I've managed to have built a really great network of some fantastic individuals who have helped me through this journey. It's been a journey, and as I go further in the chapters, I will reveal more about the process of what I've had to do, the kind of options that were presented to me in terms of my son going into a PRU, which is a pupil referral unit. At that time, he was 6 years old, and I had to stand strong and say, no way. However, there was a moment of weakness where I thought, you know what, okay, let him go. And then I had to just wake up quick and be like, no, Fiona, you can't do that. So it's been a challenge. It's been a battle. And through it all, we've managed to still run a business, still be delivering sessions, and really being able to have an impact on mothers and present, as I've needed to, because I've had to just show up and get on with it. But in the background, it has been hard. It's been a challenge, but it's been one that I felt equipped and well armored for because of the support around me. So this chapter is really about just me being honest, as I said, and open and transparent with what I've had going on personally, but also to be an encouragement to all who have got stuff going on. And I would say, don't suffer in silence, especially for parents of children who, you're not sure what's going on with them. Raising children nowadays isn't easy because we're dealing with many different things, and special needs, I think, within the community I come from, which is the Black community, it's probably been overlooked in many a different children. I think people are labelled as being rude or being naughty, or they just don't listen, or they can't keep still, and not looking into the fact that actually, I wonder if there is more to it. I wonder if there is. And I feel really proud that I didn't take the ignorant approach, which was he's just rude, he's just naughty, he just doesn't listen. I did all the irrelevant tests that needed to be done, had to go through a process, and that's where we are today. So we've got the revelation now, we have an understanding, and I know what I'm dealing with. So going forward, it gives me something to work with. And there is support out there. I'm currently having weekly appointment with CAMS, which stands for Child, Adolescents and Mental Health Services, through the NHS, which in the first stages I was like, oh my goodness, how did I arrive here? But in all fairness, it's really healthy because I see a therapist and we talk about different strategies, different ways of how to kind of manage behavior, what to do, what to implement at home. And each week we're working on how to develop this. So for me, it's relearning. It's having to accept that I'm dealing with a child with special needs. I'm still running a business. I still have an older child that I need to ensure that she doesn't get overlooked and her needs also get met, because none of us saw this coming, and it's had a massive impact on our household. So I bet you thought that this was going to be 40 and fabulous and me telling you about my best life and what I'm going to do in my 40s and where I'm going. Yeah, that's going to come. But right now, my priority is my household. My priority is my children. My priority is ensuring that when you hear about all of the successes of what I've done and what my organisation has done, you don't hear from my children and think, well, she did all of this for everybody else, but what was she doing for her own? I really think it's important that it's getting your priorities right, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm trying to strike that balance. The theme this year, as I said, is balance for better. So I'd like to thank you for listening to this chapter. My name is Fiona Small, 40 and fabulous. Look out for more. Thank you.